hold on a second. So they got Zechariah. What do we do? He said, well, you know who it is. It's Imran's child. And by the way, it's my niece. This is my own niece here, this little baby. So I guess I'm the one should take care of her. They said, no, 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 wait a minute. I want the ajr. I want the reward of this. So what will we do? Because each one said, no, I want the reward. I want the reward. Well, they used to have a habit of throwing things to see how things work out. We talked about that before when they threw the arrows and things like that, the arrowheads. This time they took like these reeds from the water. You pull the reeds out, and they said, okay, throw them in the water. Whose is the last one? That will be the one. He will take care of the baby. So they threw these reeds out in the water. And one by one, they started sinking, sinking, sinking. They're all gone except one, Zacharias. So they said, okay, no argument. Okay, this is what Allah wants. So you will take over, and you will do it. So this was the way they used to get the signs of what to do. They ask Allah, but then you have to have some sign, and that was the sign that they used. And he began to take care of her, and she grew up just like her parents. She loves Allah. She likes to worship. And she likes to make a lot of what we call dhikr. Dhikr. Can you say dhikr?
Dhikr.
Dhikr. Some people say zikr, don't they? But dhikr. And this is keeping the tongue busy with the words of glorifying Allah. Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. All of this is considered like dhikr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anyhow, so what happened at a certain point, Zachariah said, it's time for me to put something up around this girl so nobody can bother her. It will be really, really private. So he put her in a secluded place that he built there for her in the temple. And that way nobody could bother her. So what happened at a certain point, Zachariah said, it's time for me to put something up around this girl so nobody can bother her. It will be really, really private. So he put her in a secluded place that he built there for her in the temple. And that way nobody could bother her. And in this condition, he visited her, and he was shocked. Where did you get this food? I didn't bring it. And look what kind of food. This bananas, this grapes. These are, things that were not in season at that time. Oh, how did you get all of this? She said, how do we get anything? From Allah. He said, yeah, I know, but, this is out of season. And how did it get in here? She said, it comes from Allah. Allah gives to whomever he wills, whatever he wills. Now, we learn two lessons from that statement. First, we learn about food comes from Allah, right? But look at something else that comes from Allah. Knowledge, because she understood, and guidance, because she was saying exactly right. Everything comes from Allah. And that's a guidance from Allah. When you realize that, that's also a gift of Allah. Zachariah is pretty amazed. Wow, look at this. But then, one day, a man suddenly appeared inside this private area of hers. Nobody can get there but Zachariah. He's the one with the keys. And she was scared. Who are you? What are you doing in here? And he said, I bring you news that you're going to have a child. She said, you stay away from me. You stay back. In Arabic, you would say, taqallah. Fear Allah. Have taqwa for Allah. Get back from me. If you fear the Rabb, if you fear the Lord of the worlds, get away from me. He said, ma'am, I am a messenger from your Lord to you. All right? And he's sending news to you that you're going to have a child, a blessed child, a prophet. He's going to be the Messiah. Excuse me? How is this possible? Seeing that no man has ever touched me? And you stay away. He said, well, take it easy. She said, how is this going to happen? And then he said, it is easy for Allah, because whenever Allah wants anything, he merely says what? Kun fayakun, right? You know this. It means when Allah wants anything, he just says be, and it is. When Allah wanted to create the universe in the first place, what did he say? Kun. He just says kun. Fayakun means and it was, you know, it became. But Allah just said kun. That's it, one word, kun. And there it is. When he wanted to create Adam, what did he say? Kun. And so in the same way that he created Adam in the first place, all he had to do was this, kun, and Jesus would be inside of Miriam. And Miriam was her name, by the way. Her name is Miriam, and maybe you should know this about her. Allah said in the Quran, she is the best of all of the women that Allah created. Now, if you imagine, this is a high honor, and Allah raised her to the highest of the highest status. So much so that in the Quran, which is the last revelation to all the people, Allah gave her a whole section of the Quran. We call it chapter 19, or Surah al-Maryam. Surah Maryam means that this is the chapter for Mary. Well, all that notwithstanding, she still had to think about what's going on with this, you know. Strange, isn't it? The angel left, and she's going to have this baby. And it was said when she went to visit her aunt, the one who was the relative of Zechariah, when she went to visit, that she was going to have a baby too. The wife of Zechariah was going to have a baby. Who? Yahya. John the Baptist. At some point, she realized that she couldn't stay there where she was because the men of the temple, of course, they're not going to understand this. Zechariah himself would be tested pretty heavy to say that, okay, this girl's pregnant. Because people are going to say, how did this happen? And she's in your care. Aren't you taking care of the keys? I mean, did somebody go in there? What's going on with that? People will talk like that, you know. People are not going to want to believe really that miracles like this are going to happen. They don't want to believe that. They would like to believe something else. And that's, you'll see what happened in a minute. Anyway, she decided to leave, so she left. She took off. And she went to a place, farmland, an area where they have farm, and they have a lot of cattle and sheep, goats, things like that. And the area is famous for bringing the animals there for slaughter and distributing the meat and all. And it's called Beit Lahem. Beit in Arabic means house, and Lahem means meat, house of meat, Beit Lahem. And it was pronounced Bethlehem. This is how they pronounce it in the Hebrew. And that's what they call it even today in the Bible. And in that place, she stayed for a while in a farmhouse. And she became big, really big. And even then, when it was time to have the baby, she ran off. She said, I'm not going to stay here, you know, I'm going to go. And she took off. She didn't go very far, but she was out by herself. And the pains hit her, the pains of birth. And this hurts a lot, by the way. It's nothing. Us guys, we don't understand it. It's not something we really know about. But women know about it. It hurts a lot. And when she realized that this is it, I'm going to have this baby right here and now, and what kind of condition am I going to be in after that? I can't go back to my life in the temple, for sure. And I don't have a husband, and I don't have a father. Who's going to take care of me? Of course, Allah will take care of her. But look at the condition. And I'm going to have a baby, and what will people say? So in this condition, with all this pressure on her, she is saying, I wish I would never be born. I wish I was dead and dust and gone and forgotten. Just people didn't even know who I am. And by the way, whenever a woman's having a baby, she says lots of crazy stuff too, because it hurts. And in this condition, suddenly a voice said to her, Miriam, grab a hold of this old tree. She was against that, like almost a dead old date tree is what it was. And all of a sudden, it was alive again, and it had dates that were ripe.